Hello, it's Monday the 18th of April and welcome to your 5-minute briefs from Seoul. I'm your host, Heejin Koo. In our first episode of the month, we take a look at South Korea's efforts to offset concerns over its economy amid surging inflation and energy costs, its plans to expand fuel tax cuts, and its goals to normalize international flights by 2023. Plus, we'll also explore how South Korean firms are boosting their investment into protein alternatives as consumers seek to incorporate healthier options into their diet, and how traditional wine, including makgeolli and soju, are finding fresh appeal among younger generation. Let's begin our 5-minute roundup. South Korea is tapping the brakes in its post-pandemic economic recovery, raising key rates and further tightening lending policies as all signs point to mounting inflationary pressure amid supply chain concerns and surging energy costs. In its monthly economic assessment report called the Green Book, released on Friday, the Finance Ministry saw a continued rebound in the nation's exports and the job market. Still, it raised concerns that the pandemic and the war in Ukraine will restrict recovery in domestic demand and over mounting consumer prices. The Bank of Korea on Thursday raised its key rates by a quarter percentage point to 1.5%, its fourth hike since August, in a bid to tame inflation. South Korea's March consumer prices grew more than 4% on year for the first time in a decade on the back of surging energy costs. The nation also posted a trade deficit for March, despite monthly exports reaching an all-time high on the back of a jump in import goods, including costly fuel. Meanwhile, the government is hoping that its decision to lift all social distancing measures starting today may alleviate concerns as it adopts measures to boost consumer spending. And as part of efforts to offset prices, South Korea will expand the rate of tax cuts on fuel from the current 20% to 30% temporarily from May to July to alleviate inflationary pressure and minimize the impact of soaring energy prices due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Hong Nam-gi stressed that managing consumer prices is a very important and sensitive issue that correlates directly to disposable household income. He added that the Russia-Ukraine conflict has adversely impacted consumer prices along with those of major developed countries that are seeing jumps of 6 to 7%. And with the adjusted taxes, an ordinary driver commuting 40 kilometers a day with gas mileage of 10 kilometers per litre will be able to save 30,000 won or $24.80 a month. The measures also include support for the transportation and logistics industry. And despite such concerns, South Korea has set a bold target to fully normalize international flight operations to the pre-pandemic levels by 2023, pulling up its targets by a full year. The Asian nation expects that the global pandemic would become an endemic by the latter half of this year. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport earlier this month unveiled a 3-phase plan to resume regular international flight operations. Its primary target for this year is to resume international flight services to half the level offered in 2019 or before the viral outbreak in January 2020 and to fully offer regular international services in 2023. Currently, Korea is servicing 420 international flights per week, which is less than 10% of the weekly 4,770 regular international flights operated in 2019. International arrivals at the country's main air gateway, Incheon International Airport, currently averages at below 10 flights per hour, just about a quarter of 40 flights in 2019. And as its first phase of the plan, starting next month, the Transport Ministry will increase the number of regular international flights per week from 420 to 520 in May and 620 in June. However, some view the plans a tad aggressive, as the International Air Transport Association sees global demand for international flights revert to pre-pandemic levels only in 2025, amid a lingering spread of the Omicron subvariant, especially in China. The agency projects the number of international air travelers to hover at 69% of the 2019 level this year, 82% next year, and 92% in 2024. Turning to the latest in the food and beverage industry, South Korean companies are looking to increase their investments into alternative protein sources, including plant-based meats and fish, as a growing number of consumers try to incorporate healthier and eco-friendly options into their diet. Hanwha Solutions is one such company, as it emerged as the biggest investor, pouring $34 million into a Series B funding for U.S. startup Finless Foods last month. Founded in 2017, California-based Finless Foods develops fish protein, focusing on alternatives for tuna, namely the bluefin tuna, as its various species range from critically endangered to vulnerable, and also because it's expensive. It specializes in the production of plant-based and cell-cultured seafood that's identical to the real deal, and the trend will likely spread to other food groups, namely sugar-free or diet soda. New releases by the nation's soda makers this year all have diet or sugarless options, including soy milk, iced tea, Sprite, and of course the two Coke giants, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Changing tastes have also prompted South Korean consumers to branch out into the world of traditional wine, including that of makgeolli and soju, as independent producers revamp their brands to cater to younger clientele. Enthusiasts of makgeolli, which is made from rice and a fermentation starter called nuruk, take road trips to hundreds of small family-owned breweries that are scattered around the country, uploading their recent finds onto social media. And the clients are not the only ones getting younger. Amid a newfound appreciation, some next-gen breweries are quickly arranging tours and weekend classes to cater to visitors interested in home brews. Makgeolli is not the only traditional spirit to garner fresh enthusiasts. The February debut of Won Soju has been a breath of fresh air among the more commonly recognized and mass-produced green bottle spirit that is usually based on potatoes, sweet potatoes, or wheat, barley, and other grains. Won Spirits, with an upscale brand image, is owned by entrepreneur and South Korean hip-hop sensation Jay Park, and has been running its production line non-stop, as the limited batches of Won Soju, distilled in the traditional method using only rice, is flying off the shelf from selective retail stores. That wraps it up for this episode of 5-Minute Briefs from Seoul. This has been Heejin Koo for KBSI. Have a good day.